Hi, I'm Skyler and welcome to day 9 of my 30-day sculpting challenge. For this one, my parents picked the prompt. It was a really fun challenge and honestly, I think it might be one of my best sculpts yet. Enter the orchid mantis. This thing is absolutely beautiful, such a wild creature. I gathered some reference, and one thing I'm realizing more and more is that when you're looking for references nowadays, especially for cool, unusual creatures, that you actually have to be really careful about AI. AI can be useful for references and inspiration, but it's not always correct. If you're actually trying to study something, it can be pretty dangerous. Like this one had butterfly wings. That doesn't make any sense. I probably wouldn't have known that if I hadn't already seen a bunch of references, which means that in other AI images, there's probably tons of other things incorrect, like proportions and anatomy. By the way, I really appreciate a lot of the advice and feedback that I get on these videos, and I tried applying some of that advice in this one. Specifically keeping the model in separate meshes, blocking it out first, and then merging only when necessary. That way I don't end up with unnecessarily high poly meshes in areas that don't really need it. So I started by blocking out the main sections of the body, and then I added the head and focused only on the large features, like bulges around the eyes. I actually couldn't quite tell what was going on around the structure on the top of the head, whether it's two separate forms or one form with a dark stem down the middle. And then I added the 3 smaller bumps at the center. I had to really restrain myself from jumping into head details because I knew if I did, I'd never get to the rest of the model. I added the mandible in the front, at least that's what I think it is, and then I moved on to the antenna. For those, I used the bend curve tool, which I think I could definitely push more to improve the silhouette. From there, I started blocking out the really odd-shaped arm sections. At that point, I realized time was running out, and I only had about 10 minutes left. I adjusted the body proportions because it was feeling a bit short, and then I rushed to squeeze in the leg sections. I actually like where I landed with this one. I didn't feel like I screwed anything up, I just gave myself a solid foundation to build on if I wanted to come back to this. And I feel like that's a pretty good place to be in after an hour for someone of my skill level, especially for a full model. I could easily spend a lot of time refining this model, adding more features, shapes, protrusions, and spikes before ever even needing to get into detail. I could even study the anatomy more, how the joints work, and push it more into a praying mantis type of pose. So that's day 9. What do you think? Am I improving? I think it's hard to tell between all the different variations and sculpts that I've done. If you have any ideas for what you think I should sculpt next, throw it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on day 10.